On this story, we can bring in Bruno Cautrès, a researcher at the French National Centre for Scientific Research. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. Firstly, what is Emmanuel Macron hoping to do with all these meetings today?
I'm not sure that Emmanuel Macron has so many hopes. He's trying, actually, it's more like, I would say, like he's obliged to do that. He's obliged to do that, to have consultation with the leaders of the parties. After all, Emmanuel Macron, when he campaigned for the presidential election, he was saying, I will do it differently this time. I'm going to have a new method of government.
His victory speech, I was there. That's what he said.
I'm going to do consultation. I'm going to open the floor to discussion. So actually,
then why didn't he really campaign for the parliamentary elections?
He didn't really campaign neither for the presidential or the legislative.
Because he was too busy with the war in Ukraine.
Yes, he tried to do exactly the same tactic for the legislatives as he did for the presidential, which is no campaign for the first round and in the second round to make dramatization, which is that the extremists are there. But he has not worked, actually, because there was no leader of the campaign, neither the president nor the prime minister. The prime minister, she was also engaged in a constituency to get a seat.
Yeah.
Okay, but actually she was so fresh, so new, and frankly speaking, she has not a political profile. She's a very good technocrat. She has amazing CV, very good, very qualified
very
person,
smart, yeah.
Absolutely amazing CV, but she's not really a politician, and she did not campaign also.
Emmanuel Macron is meeting with these leaders of these various parties today from a significantly weakened position, a position he's not used to being in.
Yes, since now 5-6 years, we are habituated that Emmanuel Macron is winning at the end, always, and always. Have you seen the yellow vest? We've got a gigantic democratic...
Yeah, but he only won that because of COVID, the COVID pandemic.
Yes, and then the COVID, and also he said, I've won the battle against the COVID also. But finally, Macron is now in a very, very weak position. He needs to get a majority because he wants to apply the program that he wants to, particularly reforming the pension system in France, but also other reforms. And it's absolutely not the same mandate as the first one for Emmanuel Macron.
On Sunday night, after the disastrous result for the Ensemble or Together coalition, we had the French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne, who came out and spoke. She spoke very late into the night. And while she said the result was risky, it was one that needed to be respected, but she also said that the government would put together a package to tackle the cost of living crisis. Is this an issue that can unite all parties across the political spectrum, and that's why they highlighted it?
When we hear the different political leaders, they are all saying that we should do something to make the life of French easier, to increase the salaries, or these kind of things. But they are very, very different, fundamentally, I would even say, different options. On the side of Emmanuel Macron, it's actually giving temporary help to the people, to help paying the gas, for instance, when on the other side, the side of the left particularly, they want to have the minimum wage 1,500 per month, which is completely different scenario. So everyone says we have to do something. The cost of living is really problematic in France, but the method and the different policies are absolutely not the same. So I cannot really see for the moment that there will be a kind of consensus on that.
I want to ask you about Emmanuel Macron's options now, because going forward, we have obviously Marine Le Pen, who's done significantly well. The National Rally has increased its seat share in Parliament by a lot. It has, 89 seats now. Then we have the left-wing New Alliance, the bloc, which has done significantly well. Who's going to be, if the president can't get his reforms through, what are his options?
I think one potential option for Emmanuel Macron would be to get back on the issue of reforming the democratic system, the political system. After all, it was in the beginnings of Emmanuel Macron's story, it was the key point, reforming politics. Restoring confidence and trust in politics by the French. After all, it was the first message of Emmanuel Macron.
Are you thinking about citizens' initiatives or whatever?
Yes, this kind of thing.
But that didn't really work. He tried it.
But we have to do something. We have a huge level of abstention again.
54%.
Abstention majority for the abstention for the 2 rounds of the legislative. We cannot continue like that. We have abstention, elections after election. We have a huge level, very high level of political distrust in France. So we have to do something. And one way Emmanuel Macron could eventually unify would be to say we need to reform the Fifth Republic quite significantly.
Do you think he will do that?
It can't continue like that. Normally, that was the beginnings of the program of Emmanuel Macron. If you get back 5 years ago, it was the first message of Emmanuel Macron. That was, it cannot continue like that.
And let's just say we have the breakup in Parliament as it is right now. If he wants to push through his reforms, can he use measures like the 49.3 article of the Constitution? How often can he use that to push through his
Not so
agenda?
much. A long time ago, you could use that as long as you want. It's over. You can use one time a session. So you need to use it very strategically for a very, very, very important dossier, something that you absolutely want to get. And also, it's a tool. It's a killing tool, I would say. If you use it, you get the majority. But if you use it at the same time, you send a signal that you are weak because you are obliged to use that, which is also a signal of weakness.
But Emmanuel Macron hasn't consulted Parliament up until now, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes about doing it. Thank you very much, Bruno. Bruno Cautrès there.